Constantine number 5 is a Trinity War tie-in that shows the events immediately following Justice League Dark number 22. Constantine and Shazam slipped away from the other Justice Leagues when they were arguing about Wonder Woman's quest to find Pandora. Constantine takes Shazam to his friend's bar and begins to lecture him about the power he wields. He warns him that the power of Shazam is dangerous, that Billy has to revert to his normal form before the power overloads and explodes in his face. Constantine plays on Billy's fear of losing his adoptive family to drive his point home. Billy finally relents and reverts to his natural form. However, it turns out Constantine was tricking him. When Billy turns back into a boy, Constantine uses a magical spell and a voodoo doll to switch their voices. Billy is unable to call back the power of Shazam with Constantine's voice. Constantine now controls the power of Shazam, but he doesn't want to use it. Rather, he just wanted to take it out of the equation during Trinity War. Unfortunately, the Cult of the Cold Flame, a group of magicians who hate Constantine, show up and attack him. Constantine is forced to use his newfound power and turns into Shazam himself. He is able to defeat his attacker, but the power is too much for him to handle. Billy uses the commotion of the fight to break free and destroy the doll. With his voice restored, Billy then takes back the power of Shazam. As Billy leaves, Constantine warns him not to try to open Pandora's box. He claims that it is actually a bomb and that the power of Shazam would only act as a fuse to light it. Billy flies away, but not before telling Constantine what a jerk he is. Before Constantine can chase after him, we see that he is actually gravely wounded from the battle. How will this development affect the balance of power in Trinity War?
I think the biggest impact on Trinity War is just that Constantine is now going to be behind the scenes, sort of being a secret dealer, making secret deals with people. You're not going to know what he's really going to be doing until the very end, where I'm sure he's going to make a big splash.
He's teamless now, so he's gone completely solo. I don't think he'll die.
He's not going to die. This random bar fight is not going to be the end of Constantine.
The cool thing he does in this issue, though, is stealing the power of Shazam. Pretty smart way to do it, actually. And just tricks Billy, the kid.
He really just takes advantage of his youth. Just like we brought up in our Trinity War Part 3 review, Constantine's just like this creepy guy that takes advantage of a young kid, and he just preys on him.
But he isn't doing it so he can gain the power of Shazam for himself. He does have somewhat noble intentions behind that. He basically says this power's too dangerous to run loose in this event, and that he's doing the wrong thing for the right reason.
That's just classic Constantine. He has noble reasons, but he just comes across as a complete scumbag. And that's what I liked about this issue, actually.
Well, he seems to be playing a larger game. Basically, he said he just wanted to take Billy Batson and the power of Shazam off the board in this Trinity War. Like, he was just eliminating a variable, pretty much.
At the beginning of this issue, he sort of talks about he's not really prepared for this current situation. But that's not completely true, because we know from Passage to Justice League Dark and Constantine that he has files on all these major players in Trinity War, and he does have an idea what's going to be going down.
I think this really just goes back to a general theme of the Constantine series, is that magic has costs. And Constantine is willing to pay those costs if it does good in the long run. Here, when he's going to take Billy Batson off the board, he says it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
And I think one of the reasons he wants to take Billy off the board, because he's so young, he probably doesn't understand the full costs of what he's going to be doing.
Right. And Constantine has, paid quite a bit already in this event. Basically, his team abandoned him in Justice League Dark number 22.
He's dying.
Yeah.
Can't forget that one.
Shazam basically tells him to go to hell at the end of this. Even Zatanna, his girlfriend, just shits all over him.
Granted, not everything is working out for him right now, but we know from a prophecy, specifically from Zatanna, that Constantine is still going to be a player in Trinity War.
Yeah, Zatanna's prophecy said it would start with a death, which we know to be Dr. Light, and Constantine would be arguing with Batman or Superman. He argued with Batman in Justice League Dark number 22, and then she said, in the end, he'll be shaking hands with Lex Luthor. So, I guess that's all we have left to wait for.
I think that Lex Luthor instance is going to be brought around because Constantine thinks that the Pandora's box is this global bomb, and that's what he warns Shazam about. And I think if someone is going to be concerned about all of humanity, it's going to be Lex Luthor, and so maybe that's one of the reasons he's going to be shaking hands.
Cutting a deal.
Exactly.
It is interesting, though, when you talk about Constantine's knowledge of the box. The big mystery in Trinity War is what the box actually is. Even Hephaestus didn't know what it was in Part 2. But here, Constantine seems so sure.
It could be that he's just lying. I mean, that's always a possibility when it comes to Constantine. But it does indicate that he has some knowledge that no one else in the DC Universe right now seems to have.
Yeah, he got very specific when he says, if you try to open the box, you're going to act as a fuse and cause it to explode.
Which brings up, is Shazam the prophesied purest of heart that's going to be opening this box?
I don't necessarily know if he's the purest of heart to open it, but I do think this means he'll probably be attempting to open it at some point during this event. And I don't think it'll destroy the world, but other bad things could happen, potentially. Speaking of Shazam, though, one thing I really liked about this issue was it was finally another writer's take on the character. This issue seemed to almost validate him being chosen as Shazam. When Constantine tried to use the power, he said it was too much for him. It was agony, and he couldn't control it, whereas Billy has been able to.
It'll be really interesting to see how Billy, who right now is not on any of these 3 groups that were created in Part 3 of Trinity War, what he's going to be doing in the rest of the event.
Yeah, both him and Constantine are just completely rogues now. And it'll be interesting, though, to see where they go.
So, as a grade for Constantine number 5, what would you give it?
I'm going to give this issue a 4 out of 5. It was fairly satisfying as a tie-in issue to the events, and it's always fun to see a scheming Constantine. I also really liked seeing a new take on the New 52 Billy Batson, and I think it just further evolved his character.
I'd also give this issue a 4 out of 5. Constantine is just fun. I've really enjoyed this series so far. This didn't have that big of an overall impact on Trinity War, but it does provide a little bit more insight on what could happen.
So thanks for watching B3 Comics review of Constantine number 5. Before we go, we got a question for you guys.
Now that Constantine is all by himself, what do you think his next step should be?
Leave your answer in the comments below. Also be sure to check out our announcement video where we bring up our new video series.
You can also vote twice if you go onto our Facebook and Twitter pages.
Thanks.